my dad did the best he could.
Yeah.
He did what he knew. My grandfather did the best he could.
Sure.
He did, both great men. But when there are heartaches, I don't want my children or my grandchildren to have to walk through heartaches.
Yeah.
I want them to be protected so that as they walk into life, they're not wounded, but they're healed, they're strong, they're wise, they're open, they're loving, they're fierce.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the TPM Show. Today is going to be an awesome episode. We have Scott Olford that is here. Scott was just actually assisting on an alpha reset, which if you're not familiar with that, you're going to learn a lot about it in this episode. But we're also going to talk about how to penetrate your woman. And guys, it's probably not what you're initially going to think here. And we're going to see where this conversation goes. So stick around. This is going to be a great one. Scott, thanks for being here, man.
Thank you for having me, Doug.
Yes. I mean, I also want to thank you for all that you've done over these last 4 or 5 days. You know, walking out of the TPM ranch, we have 10 men that I would say have been completely renewed, reclaimed, and released.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was a life-changing experience for them. It was a life-changing experience for me.
Yeah.
Being on this side versus the other side of reset from a year ago, it is extremely eye-opening and has even taken me farther on my journey.
Awesome, man. Well, I always get to remember that here we are, 1,000 some episodes. Some men are new to this show, so they don't know what the reset is. And so for those that are listening, we call it the Alpha Reset, or TAR for short. We're simple men, so TAR works. It is our immersive 4-day experience. We host it here at the TPM Ranch, also in the UK. And it's where men come in, and they get the chance to release and reclaim the man that they've always been. And on the other side of that experience is nothing short than phenomenal.
Look, I absolutely agree. I found myself a year ago. Mm-hmm. And in that journey, that 3-day journey of release, reclaim, I found who I was. And I'm still learning in the process, but I saw a glimpse, and the pictures just keeps getting brighter and brighter and brighter. And this 4-day experience brought more light to it.
Yeah, it was awesome. Well, let's talk about that a second. So, for the Alpha Reset, without giving anything away, what did it mean to you? And then we'll come up to these guys here and catch everybody up to speed.
My reset or their reset?
Your reset.
My reset, there were things that I had held on to that I needed healing. And you, as a man, you think you go through life and I've got this. Everything's good. And I had personally hit a place, I'm almost 50 years old. Well, I'm 50 now, but at that point, I'm almost 50 years old, sort of in that midlife crisis place. And I didn't know how to move forward. I wasn't really sure where I wanted to go, what my direction should be. So for me, it was undoing the baggage. It was undoing the things that had weighed me down for quite a few years, dealing with some of those things and then getting a vision and a direction. And I feel like so many men struggle with that midlife crisis, and it goes for years upon years. And I made a shift and went through it, regained a vision, direction of who I am. And man, it's just charged me over this last year.
I love that, buddy. And it's so interesting for me because it's hard to describe, because when men walk through the door to go to their reset, I think a lot of guys don't know what they need. They realize it retrospectively coming out of it. You'll hear a lot of guys say, I found my heart. And I don't think many men walk in the door looking for their heart.
No.
And so that's why it's really hard to describe, because I can imagine I imagine old me sitting on the couch, watching someone talk about this. I'm like, find your heart. What the heck is that guy talking about? I'm not looking for that. The problem I have is in my marriage. The problem I have is I'm not happy or depressed. For some reason, I'm making money. I'm checking all the boxes, but for some reason, I'm not content.
Yeah. And you say finding the heart. That was, man, that was the absolute for me. When I first heard TPM, I'll give this quick story. It was the day after I turned 49. I had felt like I was going into my 50th year. It was going to be a year of freedom. I didn't know what that meant. And I was frustrated, and I literally hear a TPM podcast, and Deer just spoke to me because I reacted. That was my mode of life. I was like a nuclear ticking time bomb that it didn't take much and I would react and explode. And I'm like, man, I need some answers. And I don't want to be this way. I don't want to live this way, reacting. My wife had said it so many times that when I heard the TPM podcast, I listened to 3 or 4 and I sent her a link, and I knew it was the journey that I needed to take, and jumped in. And as I walked through it, one little thing after another, I would call them little. They weren't little. They were huge events that began to just sort of unfold like an onion. When an onion unfolds, the tears come.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of that. I sort of circled the Alpha Reset in one of the first couple of podcasts. It said, that's where I need to be. I heard you talk about it. I heard you talk about, the life-changing events, men saying it's like they were born again. Mm-hmm. And so that was, for me, that was something I really circled and said, I want that. I could give other explanations of what happened in that, but when I walked into day one, I didn't know what to expect. I was nervous. I was anxious. I was excited, and I wanted to give everything I had in this journey and not leave without experiencing that. And one of the volunteers, like what I've done, sort of pulled me to the side and said, brother, let the cockiness go. Take the mask off. It's okay. We got you. And I settled. And I'll always be grateful for that brother, for that man, for doing what he did that day.
Yeah. You can use his first name. Which one? Yeah.
Michael.
Yeah.
I'll always, he knows who he is. If he's listening, he knows exactly who he is. And man, it was, his nickname was the Tender Titan, and he showed that tenderness, and he helped me that day.
Yeah, an amazing man, just like yourself.
Yeah.
I also want to give a shout out to your wife, for all that she's done for you, for the movement. Her unsolicited post on LinkedIn that you shared with me. What a beautiful thing, man.
She is a absolutely amazing woman.
Yeah.
That before my walk in TPM, I used to say I didn't deserve her. And I felt that, and I believe that. Mm-hmm. Because I didn't feel like I was worthy. I looked at my mistakes. I looked at my failures. I didn't feel like I deserved her. And I can't tell you the times that I've told her that. And she's told me, yes, you do. You are worthy. And as I've walked through this journey, as I've shed the weight, as I've shed the burdens, as I've shed the heartache, I've been able to look in the mirror and say, I am worthy. I do deserve her. And by getting to that place, it's made her feel safe.
Yeah.
Because, man, I could, Doug, as you know, I could talk about these things all day long.
Well, I know, and you've lived them with experience, and there's nothing better than something that's been battle tested, right? In the trenches, has gone through it. And that's what's so great. So on the other side of it, we got a bunch of guys next door at the ranch house. They're getting ready to leave. Totally different men.
Yeah.
One guy gave me a big hug and said, this is man about to turn 60, said, this is the best 96 hours I've ever spent, most transformational experience ever. And man, that sounds like hyperbole, right? I can imagine listening to someone saying that, but I mean, you got the opportunity to hear it time and time again, and you've been through the experience.
Yeah.
And now you've walked alongside 10 men, right? We had 5 staff members, essentially 5 people there. You volunteered your time, you came in and walked these men out of the darkness.
These men were blessed to have you here. And I know you're not looking for the accolades, but to watch you operate and to watch you give your heart to these men and to help each one of these men walk through their journey, it was a blessing on my side just to watch you do what you love to do and what you're really good at doing.
Yeah, I think they called me Care Bear at the end of the Still trying to figure out if it's an insult or not.
No, and being there and part of that name, it's the love that just comes forth out of your heart.
Sure.
What the Care Bears show, it was very, very clear.
Yeah, I'm just teasing. Obviously, we get a bunch of men together in a room. We're going to be talking some trash.
Yeah, there was some of that too.
I'm sure it's a good time, man. And so when we look at this, one of the things that you shared with the guys, which was deep, because on what I will share is we did bring in my wife for a woman's point of view to ask the men. And after she left, you shared something I thought was really poignant about penetrating a woman.
Yeah. You know, I'm one of those men that in his insecurity and his fear chased women as a young man. Mm-hmm. And it was about sex. It was about the experience. And it always left me unfulfilled. You know, and then I meet the woman of my dreams and we get married, and we've been married 27 years now. And all she ever desired was connection. And I didn't really know how to connect because I couldn't connect with myself.
Yes.
And so in that penetration, there was a master class that Tim shared and taught back in May. And it took me into a place where I began to realize, and if it's okay to share this, there was two things that he talked about: being fierce, but walking in love. Yeah. And a man who walks in love without fierceness is neutered, and a man who walks in fierceness without love is a predator. And I had to have some real honest self-reflection, because there's been a lot of times that I was a predator. Mm-hmm. And the heartache that it's caused my wife. So as I go through that self-reflection and I see that, I realize that what my wife needs is for me to just be vulnerable, be open, be real. My reset coach, Mark Smith, gave me this advice when I left. He said, go home, look her in the eyes. That's all you need to do. Let her feel you.
Yeah.
Let her feel the change. And man, was that great advice. But as I've walked through that last year, I realized there's still some things missing. And I walked through that brotherhood class and realized that I need to not only be loving, be fierce, but be loving. And how do I do that? And I started just trying to look at her soul and connect. And so many times I wanted the sex for connection, where she needed the connection for sex. And I've learned in these last few months that I can just look at her, open myself up, and she melts into me. Not to get too personal, because I don't want to embarrass her, but there have been times that I've just been able to look at her and she begins to get uncomfortable, because the penetration starts there.
Yes.
The penetration starts from my eyes. It starts from my heart, and it starts where I begin to give. And when she gets comfortable in that and she receives, there have been times I'm like, go to the bedroom. Mm-hmm. I don't have to say anything else. Nope. And when I get to the bedroom, she's waiting.
Yeah.
She's waiting, she's open, and she's receptive. And we connect.
Yes.
It's not an act. Mm-hmm. It's a true, because the penetration first has started in me, where I've penetrated myself, and then I can take that and I can give that to her. And when she receives that on the spiritual and emotional side, man, the physical is just a walking out of the joining and a connecting of spirit, soul, and body. And it is so different than what I've done all my life.
Yeah. Well, none of us have been trained to do it, right? We didn't learn. I remember when my wife told me she didn't feel safe with me, which I've shared this story so many times, but I was lost. Like, what do you mean you don't feel safe? Like, I've never hurt you, never hit you, never pushed you even, never done anything. How could you not feel safe? And it's that emotional safety. And men get to learn that that's a foundational principle. Women have to feel emotionally safe. The other thing that won't surprise a lot of guys listening to this but it will surprise women, is men don't want just sex. They want connected sex.
That's correct.
Right? They want their woman also to desire them. But women need to be seen, heard, and desired. And when you tap into your who you are as a man, you're secure with yourself, right? So you know who you are, basically, is all that security is. And you turn that attention and that desire towards your wife and let her feel your energy, who you are, game over.
Yeah.
You know, that's the kind of penetration you're talking about. And that leads to the other kind of penetration that both people like.
Yeah, and I missed that so long in my marriage.
Yeah.
I can remember times where I'd ask her, why are you not into this? Where's the passion? Well, there was no passion there because she didn't feel safe, because I was taking what I wanted, what I thought I needed, and I mean, in all honesty, it was probably abusive to her heart, to her spirit. And it's taken time, and we have healed so much through my walk in TPM.
Mm-hmm.
I will forever be thankful for that day that I opened Facebook, I found the TPM podcast, and my journey through TPM.
I'm glad you did too, man. Get a chance to meet you, spend time with you, walk alongside these 10 beautiful men,
Yeah.
even on 4 hours of sleep.
You mentioned the 4 hours of sleep. When I left that day and I was traveling, trying to get here, there was every setback to keep me from getting here. And Coach Neal, when early morning, it was 5:30 in the morning when I called here, and I'm like, one flight's been canceled. This flight's been postponed, delayed. What do I do? Coach Neal said, just get here.
Yep.
And so when I made that decision that morning, my wife was in limbo, didn't know what to do. Does she come back to the airport and get me? I made that decision, and I called her and I said, I'm going. I don't care how long it takes to get there. I don't care what it takes. She settled. She got safe because I made a decision. I stood. I knew where I was going, and she was great with that. And during that discussion that day, she told me, she said, I miss you already. And I told her, I said, understand, while I'm not physically with you, my heart is always with you. Feel me. While I might be 1,500, 2,000 miles away, feel me. Take me with you where you go. I'm going to take you with me. That connection's not going to change. I'd have never thought or spoken that way, but that was true from my heart.
Yeah.
Of what I've learned and what I've become, who I've become as a man.
What a beautiful thing to give to your wife, right? So many women, because my wife coaches women, I hear the other side of the story. So many of them are just lonely. Yeah. They're lonely because they're waiting for their man to step up, and men just don't know, right? We're doing our best we can. We get vanilla sex for her. She maybe has sex just because obligation, and no, that doesn't feel good for any guy. Yeah. So then guys turn to masturbation on porn and everything else because it's easier, right? And they don't have to deal with the rejection or loss of connection. But when a couple can come together like you guys have, that's a different story. And also, I want to highlight that you were decisive. And that is the scariest place for a woman to be, is be with her provider, her protector, which is her man, and that guy to be indecisive. That's why so many times, Scott, I hear men say, as soon as I joined the program, and it could be a different program, I just happened to hear about TPM for obvious reasons. As soon as I joined, things started to shift. Yeah. And that's because you got out of the messy middle, right? She doesn't want one foot on the dock, one foot on the boat. You got to jump all in and go for it. And that's when results start to happen.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And look, there are days that I screw up. There are days that I don't make the right decision. There are days that I'm not decisive. There are days that she says something in the safety test, I don't do a good job and I fail it.
Yeah.
But what I've learned is to step back, be able to look at it and say, what's going on? And if I messed up, I own it. And if I didn't mess up, what do I need to do to make her feel safe?
I want to buy you a gift. Look, if your marriage is struggling, and let's be real, every marriage struggles at some point, but if yours is struggling where you've lost that love, admiration, respect, I want to help you. I want to buy you a copy of the book that I wrote, A Man's Guide on How to Save Your Marriage Without Talking About It. In here, I've distilled over 8 years of programs that we've developed at TPM to help men just like you save their marriages without talking about it. There's no fluff, no BS. It's an action plan that you can start using today to actually save your marriage and bring that love and respect back into your family, back into your house. You deserve it. Look, all I ask is you pay the postage, you pay the shipping, I'll buy the book for you. That way you can take massive action today. Click the link or find it in the bio and get your copy now.
Y'all used to call it shit test, and it went from that to safety test.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood the terminology of the shit test. I'm like, what and why? And when it was transitioned to, it was right in my TAM time, towards the end of my TAM, I heard it start getting transitioned to safety test. And guys still call it both, but it began to click. She doesn't feel safe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, so now when most of the time, not all the time, or should I say over 50% of the time, when she starts to not feel safe, I see that and I feel that. And I go, okay, what decision can I make? What can I make how can I bring her in and make her feel safe? We had a little incident about 2 weeks ago. We were in the pool, we were talking, work came up. Well, that's where our biggest tension. We run our business together as she's a CEO. I'm the COO of our business. And she started getting her feathers ruffled. I started getting mine and I stopped. And I started laughing. And she just looked at me like, what are you laughing at?
I can imagine. Yeah.
And I grabbed her and I just pulled her into me. And I said, it's okay. This is all going to be okay. And she just settled.
Yes.
You know, she had told me so many times that's what she wanted. But I didn't know how to do that. I mean, you start going into disagreement. I go into either fight or flight mode. Well, fight mode's going to bring heartache. Flight mode's going to bring heartache. But then I learned to just bring her into that hug and say, it's okay. And she just settled. The rest of the afternoon was phenomenal. Let's just say it that way.
I bet it was. You're doing what all women want. And men, we talked about this with the guys that were here. And Aaron, my wife, spoke to him. And a lot of the guys said, well, what happens when you get in an argument? Well, I just shut down. I walk away. And what a woman wants is for you to stand your ground, be solid, not be a jerk, and then pull her in and let her know that you're willing to weather the storm with her.
Look, I learned it from Aaron. I learned it from Aaron doing the master class, Aaron coming and sharing with the men at the Brotherhood Retreat in Breckenridge, listening to that from a woman's perspective that not only understands the woman's side, but understands the male side of what she needs and can communicate it. It's phenomenal. And look, when Aaron walked in yesterday, you're a blessed man. She understands both sides and just there's just such a strength while there's such a feminine in that process. It just shines on her.
Yeah, it does. She's done a lot of work. I got to give her props. She's come a long way in her journey, as have I and as have you. And I think that's something that's important for guys to understand is this is a journey.
Yes.
Right? This isn't a one done fixed thing. Is you get to keep walking that. And it's evolutions. And I always tell the guys, like, look, would you let the 21-year-old version of yourself run your business? No way. Would you let the 21-year-old version raise your kids? No way. Right? And why are you letting that version of yourself be with your wife? And I think a lot of us get stuck in that paradigm where we think, okay, nothing's changed. I'm going to do the same things I did when I was dating, and that's going to work on this more mature, feminine, beautiful woman that I've agreed to stay with for the rest of my life.
My coach through the process, Tam, through the Brotherhood, Mark Ainsworth, Mark would tell me, I was one of those guys that always wanted to get to the destination.
Yeah.
Let's get to the destination.
Sure.
Always looking 2 days ahead, 3 days ahead. He'd say, Scott, slow down. Enjoy the journey. You know, if it's raining, dance in the rain. If it's sunshine, enjoy the sunshine. But be where you're at. Funny story with that. One day, my wife and I are talking in the afternoon, and a South Louisiana thunderstorm pops up. And we're half a mile from the house. It starts lightning and raining, and she got nervous. She's like, I'm like, we're going to get wet. But she's like, what about the lightning? I'm like, we'll be okay. Let's just walk. We get to the end of our driveway. My daughter-in-law and grandkids pulling up. They're laughing. We're soaking wet. And it was one of those, just be where you're at.
Yeah.
And it was a blessing for us. Our grandkids got to laugh at us. My daughter-in-law was laughing at us. But they also got to see us be in the moment.
That's the key. What a lesson to pass on generationally.
Yeah.
You know, gosh, I can imagine those grandkids sitting there and you're basically saying, hey, it's okay. It's okay. Grandpa and grandma, we got this. We're in love. We're walking together and we're enjoying it.
Yep.
When so much of the world tells them it's not safe.
That's right.
Yeah. Beautiful thing, my friend. Beautiful thing. We go back to this idea of penetrating a woman. Because I know some guys are listening to this going, well, okay, great, I get it, but what the heck are these two guys talking about? Let's dive a little bit further on some practical tips a few of these guys can do, or all of these guys could do, to help them start that process. And I'm going to pre-frame this that one of our coaches was working with another intimacy coach with his relationship, and the intimacy coach asked him, like, hey, if you're going to have sex on Friday, what do you need? How much time do you need to be ready? And I think he said 30 seconds or something, right? Typical guy. Like, hey, if it's on, it's on.
It takes that long?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was a slow day for him. And then she turned to his partner. They've been together 10 years or so, and asked her, and she said Monday. And so if you want to make love to your wife, she needs, in this case, 5 days of warming up.
Yeah.
And so this idea of penetrating, the things that you're doing with your wife that you've learned, that a lot of men are learning, you can keep that slow boil going consistently.
Absolutely. Yep. And it takes consistency on a daily basis. And daily's not right. It's all throughout the day. It's the little things of communicating. You know, my wife used to text me and send me the I love yous, and she would tell me, you know, I wish you would do that. I'm like, well, I'm working. I'm focused on work. I've got this to do, and I'll talk to you when I get in this afternoon. I've got all these other things. I don't have time for you right now, was basically what I was saying.
100%.
And so now I make sure before I leave in the morning, you know, she'll get up in the morning time, and I'm usually in my home office. I've done my ARS. I've done my things, and I'm sitting still. And used to, she'd come in and give me a kiss. Well, about a month ago, I changed that practice. She would come in, and I'd grab her and make her sit in my lap. And I'd just hold her. I've got her legs, I've got her body, and just embrace her and just share my heart with her. Well, that starts the connection for the day.
Yeah.
She used to initiate the kiss, and I've taken it where she not only wants the kiss, she wants the embrace.
Yeah.
And she gets up like a little girl, runs outside and goes and does her exercise in our home gym. And then throughout the day, it's the little communication. You know, I see something, makes me think about her, send her a picture, send her a video, whatever. And so it keeps her heart in the process. But even more than that, it keeps my heart in the process.
Yes.
And it keeps me thinking about her. And as men, that's a huge change for me. But it took a lot of healing, I think, to get me there.
Yeah.
I could do it from a do place. And then I'm just walking through the actions. Then I'm just checking off a checklist. And I used to have that checklist. Mm-hmm. I had a 9 o'clock alarm would go off. I had a 1 o'clock alarm that went off. I had a 4 o'clock alarm that went off. But I was just checking the checklist. A lot of times I miss that. And as my heart has changed, as I have found myself more and more and realized the importance of the connection, the importance of that penetration, it's become a being process.
The thing that you said that I really want to drive home, all of it was great, but what I really want to drive home is it's just become who you are.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a process to get there, right? We need steps. First time we drive a car, right? We're like, okay, you know, if it's a stick shift clutch, you know, you're figuring things out. You have your mental checklist. Now you just hop into a truck and you're good to go, right? And this is by reinforcing this time and time again, Scott, you've become this man.
Yeah.
And your wife can tell. Women can tell, guys, and they can feel you a mile away and maybe 2,000 miles away. They know. They're very in tune.
Yeah.
They're very connected. You don't believe me? Just ask any woman about it. And when she knows this is just who you are, that raises your level. What a gift to give the woman in your life that you love. All men, when they marry a woman, they want her to feel like a queen. And some guys, we get into this tit for tat. Well, I'll do that for her when she does this for me.
That's not leadership, though.
It's not leadership. It's transaction.
Yeah.
It's transaction. You might as well go get a prostitute at that point because you're just doing a transaction. But when you can forge a relationship with yourself that's so strong and then invite your woman in on that journey with you, you give her just an amazing gift.
You know, you mentioned all that without going into any detail of what takes place at a TAR, at an Alpha Reset. There were some guys that saw very clearly this week of how much the woman sees them,
Oh, yeah.
understands them, knows them, and what they really need.
Yes.
There were some eyes really open to that this week.
Yeah. I mean, the way I often hear it described, you come to the Alpha Reset and it's like you're wearing a pink sunglasses, but you don't know you're wearing them. So the sky looks pink. Everything's got a pink hue. And these guys would argue with you. No, the sky is pink, man. I can see it. It's pink. And then when their eyes get opened up during this it's an intense experience. Their eyes get opened up. They go, oh crap, the sky is blue. And she's been telling me it's blue the whole time, but I've been fighting it. And there's part of me, Scott, that thinks that you can't receive that feedback from your woman. It's too close to you. You need to experience it, and then you can see and go, wait a minute. She's been telling me this all along. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. My wife was hitting everything that my TAM coaches told me, reset coaches told me, master classes. It's just like, okay, have they been interviewing my wife? Do they have do they have cameras in my house? I mean, what's going on? And our wives, our women know us.
Yes.
They have the ability to feel us. I mean, so many times my wife would tell me that I am going to follow you. I am a reflection of you. The energy you give me is what I'm reciprocating. Mm-hmm. I heard Aaron say something yesterday that really was profound for me. As a young father, I made a lot of mistakes with my kids. I was almost a dictator type with my kids. It was my way or the highway, because that's the way I was raised. I didn't know any different.
Yeah.
And Aaron was talking about, as a mother, they're a protector. And the mother, if she feels like she has to protect the kids from the father, she doesn't feel safe.
No.
And not that there was verbal or physical abuse, but there was a harshness. A mother wants to nurture. She wants to pull her babies in and make her babies' hearts tender and protected. And I miss that. So that's a thing that I don't want to call it a regret, because I can't go back, but it is something that I'm working on with my children, so that my children don't make the same mistake with our kids or with their kids, not my kids, but they walk through that. And they're better fathers and better mothers than I ever was.
That's legacy, man.
Yeah.
That's like when you do the work, men, that's something most men don't think about unless they come to an event like this. We had a couple guys sitting there going, okay, I need to train my boys or my daughter to understand the stuff that we teach, because then they won't make the same mistakes. And then you break the bonds or the legacy bonds. You're probably doing the same thing your dad did. He's probably doing the same thing that his dad did, etc. The difference is you were able to, or just decided to, take the time to reflect and draw a line in the sand and go, nope, this ends with me.
Yeah. And that's where I got. My dad did the best he could.
Yeah.
He did what he knew. My grandfather did the best he could.
Sure.
He did, both great men. But when there are heartaches, I don't want my children or my grandchildren to have to walk through heartaches. Yeah. I want them to be protected so that as they walk into life, they're not wounded, but they're healed, they're strong, they're wise, they're open, they're loving, they're fierce.
I love that. And what a legacy you're leaving, not only for your wife, not only for your children, but also you're already seeing the impact, I'd imagine, on your grandchildren.
Yes. Yes.
That's all you, man, doing the work. Thank you for deciding and choosing to step up, not only doing the work so you can lead your family, but coming here to walk alongside 10 other men in this journey so they can go back and lead their families, right? Imagine that. Someone talked about the ripple effect while we're here. Imagine that ripple effect that's going to have generationally over the next 10, 20, 100 years from you just being a lighthouse. And we define lighthouses as someone who stands strong and never turns off, shows the way. And that's leadership, and that's exactly what you're doing, Scott.
It was a little bit of a selfishness to come.
Of course.
Because knowing what happens
Yeah.
and knowing the desire, you asked me think it was day one. I don't remember exactly, but what did I need or what did I desire to get from the event? Did I ask that question correct?
Yeah. What do you want to get?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I told you, I said, I'm honestly, I thought I knew what I wanted, thought I knew what I needed, but let me think about that. And it hit me on day two.
Yeah.
It was connection.
Yeah.
And I was able to really connect with men, see men's hearts from a different place, from a different perspective. And it was so eye-opening. It helped me to see me more as I saw others more, as we shared, a couple of the brothers that we served together, hearing their hearts, seeing their hearts. It was seeing them serve, seeing them give, seeing their strengths. It was, I don't want to say it was rainbows and unicorns, but that's about what it was. I mean, it was just a potpourri of light and life.
It is, man. I mean, gosh, it always amazes me. We call it day zero, right? When the men arrive versus the day the men walk out the doors the day before, right? The last day. It's literally like you transported a different person into the house where we do the work. But man, like I said, you get to lead them. You get to lead them. Connections a lot. Most men don't have connection. We had a couple guys here said, hey, I don't have that many male friends, or at least I don't have ones that I can share certain parts of me, certain parts of my life. And this is a judgment-free area.
Yep.
It's really, we had two litigators here, two attorneys sitting there, which is always fun to see these guys going through.
Yeah.
And just a potpourri, if you will, of men coming from different environments, different walks of life, and everybody coming together and realizing, hey man, we're all on this journey together. We're all on this walk together.
Yeah, it was such a blessing. And to see the men, the things they shared with one another, the openness, the transparency, then the transformation, to see men's hearts just grow together as one. It just wow. Wow is all I can say.
It is. Well, brother, thank you so much for what you do, not only within the movement that we call TPM, but just out in the world doing what you do and just showing up the way that you show up. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you for having me. Thank you for doing what y'all do on a daily basis. And thank you for being you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, as I always say at the end of an episode, in the moment of insight, take massive action. Scott has shared with you basically a blueprint, guys. This is a blueprint on not only how to connect with your wife, we call it penetrating her. And what we mean, I know it sounds, if you're listening to the audio version, you're like, what? But actually getting into her heart, right? And that's really what we want. You want your woman's heart to sing when she's around you, when she's away from you. We want her to long for you and only you. It's that deep desire. Men need that too. And this is the key. The key is getting into her heart and staying there. And when you can do that with regular basis, with effortless actions, because it becomes who you are, it just becomes a situation where life is so much better. And that's what I want for you. And guys, if you want to find out more about the Alpha Reset, Scott and I are here running on fumes a little bit, so apologies there. But go over to TPM and ask. What I would encourage you to do is don't believe me. Don't believe me that the Alpha Reset is a life-changing experience. Go ask anyone. I mean, literally any one of the hundreds of men that have been through that experience what they think. And I think you're going to find they're going to say the exact same things. Gentlemen, always take action. We'll see you next time on the TPM show.